exit scam. You know, the biggest exit scam is Ether. And then there's this other one, Cardano. These are exit scams and or rug pulls and XRP. Elon Musk did a rug pull with Doge. So it's a cheap man's version of a Ponzi scheme. I mean, Bernie Madoff managed to keep a legitimate Ponzi scheme going for many years. These Elon Musk-style rug pulls are cheap imitations.
Well, those are cryptocurrencies. What I want to really focus on is that, you know, the entire crypto market, including Bitcoin, was like 2.3 billion. The entire US dollar market, in terms of all the derivatives, all the credit, all the debt, all the cash, is quadrillions. So here they're doing a rug pull. They're abandoning the project called the US dollar as a reserve currency, as the grid of the global internet, of the global economy. So you're seeing that. You're seeing them. That's why you're seeing them talking about the Great Reset. That's why you see them talking about a new Bretton Woods. That's why you see them printing like this. That's why you see Joe Biden putting forth a $6 trillion budget. This is a rug pull. They're pulling the rug. Bitcoin fixes this. This is what we've been saying for 10 years.
Right. The US dollar is the ultimate rug pull. Look, anytime you move off the gold standard, you're talking about a Ponzi scheme by definition, because you've got to keep printing to keep the base of the Ponzi going and to pay off the early investors with printing more money. And that's the ultimate Ponzi scheme is the US dollar, and the ultimate rug pull or trapdoor or exit scam is the US dollar. And a lot of people know it, and they're positioning themselves ahead of it. Bitcoin does fix this, because it brings back the equivalent of a gold standard, but it's much better than a gold standard.
We're going to harken back. We're going to look back at the quote from Friedrich Hayek. Now, Friedrich Hayek was around during the last transition from an empire, the last Thucydides trap we saw, and the last collapse of a reserve currency, which was the British pound at the time. I don't believe we shall ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government. That is, we can't take it violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is, by some sly roundabout way, introduce something that they can't stop.
So the Hayek quote, very famous quote, and Bitcoin does satisfy what he talks about in that quote, and that the only way you could separate the state from money is through some sly kind of mirage or something that went unnoticed. And that's exactly what happened with Bitcoins. And now we've got a separation of state of money. The second quote refers to the fact that at the first few months of Bitcoin's birth, there would have been a moment of time maybe where the state could have done something to stop it. But it never did. And now it's hit escape velocity. And now every central bank in the world is going to go under. Every nation state will have to be reorganized around the fact that people now have their own wealth that's unconfiscatable. It's immutable. You can't censor it. Even, going back to when we were covering this in the early days in 2009, there was talk about allowing WikiLeaks to accept Bitcoin. But Satoshi, the famous originator, wrote in his notes that he thought it would draw too much attention to Bitcoin. So they did not overtly allow for WikiLeaks to go into Bitcoin, even though they were being censored by credit card companies and PayPal at that time.
Well, he says as well that Bitcoin has no use at all, whereas it provides the use case of a store of value, unconfiscatable store of value, uncensorable store of value for billions of people around the world. And on top of that, it provides incentives. It is more capitalist in terms of allocating capital. You don't want to just allocate your precious Bitcoin on dumb stuff and dumb investments like we've seen as the money printing continues, because morale does not improve enough. In fact, what we've seen is an increase in mortality rates. Outside even the pandemic, what we've seen is the opioid overdoses. The preliminary numbers for last year is they were close to 90,000 opioid overdoses in the US versus like 70,000 the year before. So these are big increases in deaths of despair under what he thinks is the better system of printing money, which is causing the wealth and income gap.
Look, Bitcoin provides for everybody on Earth, for the first time, true private property. It gives property rights, private property rights to individuals in a way that's never, ever, 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 ever been available before. Up until Bitcoin, it was agreed between the state and the people that certain rights would be obeyed. And in every single case, going back 2,000 years, every single state has violated those rights and stolen people's property. And America is no different today. They're overtly stealing Americans' property by the hundreds of billions and trillions, and it's very sad. But Bitcoin allows not only Americans and Europeans, but Africans and Asians and South Americans, my people in Mexico, Mexico City, right on, Viva la Mexico. Property rights for the first time ever, therefore obviating the need for the state and obviously killing the need for any central bank.
Right. If you can fix a problem with money, it's not really a problem. You could fix these problems with Bitcoin money, but the fact is that the US dollar is not, and no fiat currency is money.
Let me correct your quote. This quote shouldn't read, if you can't fix it with money, it's not really a problem. The quote, to be accurate, should read, if you can't fix it with money, it's not really money.
Exactly. So the incentive structures, the look at what we're witnessing now as they're printing more and more money. We're seeing these just not only prices gapping up, but shortages exploding all over. And here's from Barron's, 10 ways to cash in on the shortage of just about everything. America's chicken sandwich war has the combatants scrambling for supplies. Breast prices have doubled this year. Chick-fil-A has run low on sauce. Burger King has had pickle problems. Jars, not cucumbers, are hard to come by. An isolated supply squeeze? Anyone who's building or remodeling a home or buying or renting a car or stocking up on pool chlorine or dog food knows better. In the land of plenty, there suddenly seems to be an everything shortage.
Right. The breast supplies are in shortage is not also a reference to Kim Kardashian. The reason why Bitcoin is at tens of thousands of dollars a coin is because it's showing that the US dollar and other fiat money are already in a hyperinflationary collapse against Bitcoin. The only way anyone's going to survive the neo-feudalization of this economy in America and around the world is through unconfiscatable Bitcoin. Yes, there will be an incredibly difficult time dead ahead because we're entering into the fourth turning meets kind of like the Jim Jones massacre.